Hi guys, I'm back again with a new video. This time it's time for a history lesson. So I figured I'd give you guys some insight into the first superhero comics that were published in Norway. So this video is titled Superhero Comics in the 50s and 60s in Norway. The first superhero comics we ever had was Superman, or as it was known here, Stålmannen, the Man of Steel. It came out in 1952 and it contained both Batman and Superman stories. And the first issue is this lovely little cover. I can't remember which cover it is from the States, but it's a nice one. This is the first ever superhero comic published in Norway in 1952. In 1953, we also got Batman, or as he was known here, Lynvingen. This is not the first issue, but it's another one from 1953 that I have. I don't have a lot of these Batman issues. They are surprisingly difficult to find over here. And they tend to go for quite some big bucks. This is not a high-grade copy, but I'm still happy to have it in my collection. So the Stålmannen, I think I read that they got all the files to print from Sweden, and some of you are familiar with this one, Green Arrow. Now in Norway, this is a fun fact, he was called Red Arrow. And I was recently told why. And it is a very simple reason. The inside pages only has red and black color. And it didn't make a whole lot of sense to call him Green Arrow when his costume is red. Now, it's not red on the cover, but it is on the inside pages. So they figured, what the heck, who's going to know? We'll call him Red Arrow. There you go. That's a little history lesson for you. Right there. So the publisher of these comics were called Stabenfelt. It was based in Stavanger. They originally printed labels for tin cans, and as they opened up another printing facility, they had excess capabilities, and they decided, what the hell, superhero comics are doing great in Sweden and Denmark, let's try that. And they started out with Stålmannen, which incidentally is the Swedish title because they got everything from Sweden. Lynvingen was translated because Lederlappen, which is the Swedish title, just didn't make any sense here. Anyways, they only published in 1952, 1953, and 1954 before it was cancelled. And the reason was, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Frederick Wetham's crusade against comics and his eventual book, something about the seduction of the innocents. Anyways, in Norway, they set up something called the Norwegian Council of Comics in 1954. And it published its conclusion, which said, "We urge all publishers to consider the educational and ethical aspects relating to the publishing of comics for children." Basically, the publisher said, nah, we're not having any of this bad publicity. We'll cancel it. So we jump all the way ahead to 1965. So from 1954 to 1965, nothing is published in terms of superhero comics. Westerns, funnies, a lot of stuff is published, but no superheroes. They probably thought that would rot the brains of their innocent young children, but hey. Anyways, 1965, we get a new series called Rommets Helter, Heroes of Space. This is a series that contains DC comics as Blackhawk. It also contains Batman, the Atom, and John Jones, the detective from Mars, I believe. So this ran for 4 years, 19 issues. And it all ends up with a bit of a nice key, which is the Atom number 19, which is Zatanna's second full appearance and her first cover appearance. So who knew? This is a bit of a, it's a small key, but still, It's a nice cover as well. Alright, so in 1966, they figure, let's try Superman and Batman again. So this is Superman number 1, 1966. I'm not sure if this is a cover from the States or if this is like an inside panel, but the whole red border around, this ran for a few years until we got the more traditional Superman covers. You'll also notice that now he's called Superman with double N's. That's how we spell it in Norway. And not Stålmannen anymore. We also got Lynvingen. I covered this in a separate video. This is number 2 of the 1966 series, which is really sought after over here. In 1967, we get Superboy from the same publisher, Stålmannen. This is basically... the series is basically adventure comics featuring Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, and it ran for 30 issues. Not sure any major keys in this. It's a nice cover though. Oops. So we also had The Flash, 1967. He ran for, no pun intended, for 26 issues. And it's all mid-60s Flash issues from the States in this one. Some pretty cool covers. We have the, the Superman Flash race and everything. I don't have a lot of these. They're quite difficult to come by, particularly in high grade. So in 1967, Williams, which some of you guys know from Germany, Williams Verlag, or here in Norway, Williams Forlag, started publishing a series called Rommets, or the Space series. Starts out with Space Family Robinson and Dr. Solar. They expanded in 1967 into something called the Mars series, where they publish, excuse me, DC's Metal-klanen, and also Jupiter series, which publishes DC's Metamorpho. I don't have any of those issues. I've never chased those. But they're pretty cool, cool looking issues. And they are out there. Quite tough to find in high grade here. So I can't show you any of those, unfortunately. But I know most of you guys tend to be Marvel collectors, and all we've had since 1952 are DC comics. So in 1968, the Stålmannen, or C-bladene, which some of you know them as, or also Serieforlaget, they put out 5 different titles. So they put out Koloss. Let me see. I don't have Koloss, Hulk number 1, but I have number 4. So they put out a series. Each of these 5 titles had 8 issues each. Koloss followed 1 through 6 corresponds to the US issues, and then 7 and 8 are some Tales to Astonish. So this is Koloss. Really, really tough to find these days, specifically in high grade. It's almost a ghost. And Koloss number 1 is one of the toughest books to find here in Norway. In the years I've been hunting, I've seen like 1 or 2 for sale. We had Daredevil, or Demonen as he was known here. I don't have number 1 of that either, so I'll just show you number 2. We had 8 issues of this one as well, and they all 1 through 8 coincides with the US number 1 through 8 of Daredevil. We had the Fantastic Four, and I do have number 1 of this one. It's actually quite a nice grade. And again, all 8 issues coincide with issues 1 through 8 in the States. And we had Spider-Man. I don't have issue 1 of Spider-Man. I do have issue 3 and a few others. Issues 1 through 8 of Edderkoppen 1968 coincides with the US issues. But issue 2 they decided to use a different cover image. I don't know why, go figure, but they did. But the insides is the same. We also had a lesser known series called Fakkelen and Jernmannen, or Human Torch and Iron Man. Now, you'll notice this little figure here is the pose of Tales of Suspense number 39. Now, this issue, for some reason, contains Tales of Suspense 40. So, while this is the first appearance of Iron Man in Norway, it's probably his second appearance. I'm not sure if Tales of Suspense 40 was his second appearance in the States, but there you go. 4 issues were published of this, and then that was cancelled. In 1968, following the 8 issues of each of Demonen, Fantastiske, Edderkoppen, and Koloss, there were 2 more issues published, which was actually called Demonen og Koloss, which is Daredevil and Hulk. So they did 2 issues. I'm assuming that Daredevil was more popular than the other characters, since they chose to go with him. So 2 more issues, so a total of 10 issues in 1968 featuring Daredevil and Hulk. And then in 1969, that was replaced by another run, which was just Demonen. Now, in 1969 and 1970, this series ran, and it's more of a digest type of series. So it contains stories from Daredevil, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and Tales of Suspense, and Tales to Astonish. Ran into August, like 8 issues into 1970. But the 70s is for another time. In 1969, Williams Forlag also took over the rights to DC characters. So Superman, Batman, and Superboy started their 3rd run in 1969 under Williams Forlag. Because this is a lot of information to digest, I'm going to stop there. And when I do a series for superhero comics in the 70s and 80s, I will include the 69 year of the Williams publishing as well. Alright, so that was a brief history of 50s and 60s superhero comics here in Norway. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know if there is anything you'd like to know more about in the comments, and I will certainly do my best to oblige. Thank you for watching. See you again another time.